to this day, if I like have a wing or something and I'm with my parents, my dad give me crap for not like,
Cleaning the bone.
like cleaning it, the bone.
Yeah.
You don't know, you don't know.
Hi. So I'm Ann Talarodom. I'm actually saying it the correct way. I know we've had a previous conversation about how we Americanize our names.
Yes.
So I'm trying better about that. But I'm in Chicago. I'm a Thai American, first generation. My parents emigrated to the US 31 years ago. And we are making Thai green curry chicken. And this is actually the way my mom makes it now. So she's in her early 80s. She'll be okay, I think, having me say that. Because so we're using curry paste, which is something that usually, I mean, honestly, if you talk to Thai people now, they're like, just use the paste because it's much easier and you don't have to like, make curry from scratch.
Right. Yeah.
I asked my sister she has my mom's recipe. But she's like, I can't find it right now. I'm like, oh, that's fine. So we'll just use the paste.
Yeah, I've only ever made green curry chicken once. And I made the paste from scratch and I was like, that was intense. But I loved it and it was delicious. And the other day I made a bunch of dumplings, as you know, and I made that red curry broth and I used the paste because when I ordered the green curry paste, I was like, well, they have like all these other curry pastes. I might as well try them. And I don't think I'm ever going to make it myself again.
Exactly.
So I'm going to follow you and your mom's example and just like never do it fresh again because it's so good. It was like super fresh tasting, even though it's canned. You're breaking up just slightly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, great. I think it's great.
My mom, even though it's a paste, she still has like a specific order of operations.
Okay.
So when you look at the recipe, you notice there are two different mints for the coconut milk.
Mm-hmm.
You have that separate?
Yes. So I have my 4 tablespoons, and then I have my 1.5 cups.
Okay, great. That's good.
Okay. So walk me through this. Let's walk, let's talk, let's do the cook.
Right. Because the cooking part
my hand is hot.
It's not going to take very long. So we can talk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
All right. So you've got your coconut oil.
Mm-hmm. Pop it in. And I'm using a spatula to like get into my little bowls because I want to make sure that I get all the good out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't waste anything.
Right.
And usually it should be like medium heat. Be good.
Okay. Great. I preheated. I'm just starting to like learn how to use this induction burner, and I really like it. I bought it because we were doing hot pot at home, and we didn't have our own hot pot, and I was like, I've got a pan. I'll get an induction burner at the Walmart when we were on vacation, or like just on a vacation, and it's really convenient because I don't have a stove that would allow me to be cooking and facing out.
Right.
So it's like, ooh, look at me. I have a stove. Okay, so oil is heated, it's melted. I'm a professional. Yes. We're professionals.
All right,
okay,
so then
what's the next step?
The curry paste.
Uh-huh.
So that was the ounces, so half the can. Yeah, so just take half the can and you put it in, and you're fry that, as my mom says, until it smells.
So it's so good. So fragrant curry paste now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. Okay, I'm getting squished. Okay. Smelling so good right now.
All right. So
I'm really excited.
It's starting to smell good here. Then you added 4 tablespoons of coconut milk.
Coconut milk. Okay.
And this is full fat coconut milk.
Yes.
None of the
Yes.
light stuff.
None of that light stuff, because we want the full fat, full flavor, full deliciousness that our mothers would be proud of us for having.
Right. So then you keep stirring.
Mm-hmm.
Till it's like well combined, well mixed together.
Okay.
And so it doesn't stick either. And you can't see, but I'm using my Dutch oven for this.
Nice. Yeah, I'm using I guess it's a brazier, but it's just like the top bit of my stovetop smoker, but it's really nice for like making stews and soups.
It's a good size.
Because it's a good size. It's nice that it's like for this project, it's like I can just kind of tilt it up and then people can see what I'm doing. And then it's not super, it's nice and wide also, which is great. So I think it was a good investment. It was a quarantine. It was a quarantine purchase that I've utilized time and time again, and don't feel bad at all about the purchase.
So
okay.
You're gonna actually turn up the heat so that it's like more kind of medium high. Closer to high, because you're gonna add the chicken.
Okay, great.
And you want the chicken to cook, so you kind of get that heat up.
Great. And I'm adding the chicken now, yes?
Yep.
Okay.
You're gonna keep stirring. Just so that like the chicken is kind of well cooked by the curry and the coconut.
Okay. I think I'm actually going to switch back to the spatula, because I think I'm too short to be using the spoon that I'm using right now. All right, coating my chicken in curry and coconut milk.
All right, how's it look?
Hold on one sec. All right, so here's what I've got going. Does that look right?
Okay. Yeah, so then you're going to go and add the rest of the coconut milk, that 1.5 cups.
Okay.
Straight in.
So your mom's been making it this way. Sorry, go ahead.
Add that 1/2 cup water.
1/2 cup of water. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do this thing where you like put the water in the can? Yep. Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to waste anything, right? Like.
Right. So what kind of coconut milk do you actually use?
So I'm using this Thai kitchen unsweetened coconut milk. It's what they had at the Costco when I bought it, but it's surprisingly really thick. And it's interesting. I just looked at the back because I was like, is this actually from Thailand? It's a product of Vietnam.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
All right.
So are we just letting it simmer?
Yeah, you're gonna go ahead and you can turn down, let's see. you can maybe turn the heat to a like medium-ish,
Okay.
and leave it uncovered, but just let it boil.
Okay. I'm gonna keep it at high just because this is a burner that's not as potent as my stove would be, but once it starts to bubble up, I'll turn it down a little bit. So your mom has been making this the same way for, you said 50 years?
So she started making it this with like the pastes, maybe the last 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. But so they live, they emigrated to St. Louis, and they're still there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is there a large Thai population in St. Louis? I've never actually been to St. Louis.
Not particularly.
Okay.
So my dad's brother-in-law was a OBGYN in St. Louis in the 60s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So after the Immigration Act of 1965, so there were a lot of professionals who are kind of allowed into the country. And in particular in the Midwest, there's a shortage of medical professionals in rural areas. And so then there were a lot of people who came to either do their residency, finish their study, like in the US, and then they were, they trained, and then they actually spread out to rural communities. So it's why you'll see like, in Kansas or Arkansas or some small town, there's a random Asian person that is there. Who's been there for 50 years because they were they were like the town doctor.
Yeah. That's so wild.
All that's to say that my dad is actually an engineer, but his brother-in-law was here, and so he my dad actually got a sponsorship from some like government guy in Thailand. There's a whole story to that, which I only found out a few years ago. I always thought it was my uncle that had sponsored my dad to come into the country, but it wasn't. Anyway. But when my dad came over first because my mom was pregnant with my sister, and he left Thailand like when he was he left like with 2 days left on his visa. And because he wanted to stay mom for as long as he could, and he left, and my mom like gave birth a month later.
Oh, wow.
So
that's wild.
But like he almost make it to the country because he waited so long. So anyway, when my mom finally came over, and when my sister was 8 months old, came to St. Louis, and they were like very few Thai people there, and if they were all kind of somehow associated with my uncle. He was like almost like a linchpin for the people who came to St. Louis. But my mom, she has her degree, associate's in home economics. So she is like an amazing cook. She's a seamstress. She does all of those things. And she early on had to substitute a lot of stuff when she was cooking, making Thai food. Like you're familiar with papaya salad?
Right.
Yeah, so I grew up with it being made with carrots.
That's so wild.
I had
because you couldn't get green papaya.
Because you could get papaya in St. Louis.
Right.
In the 70s, 80s. And it wasn't until after, like in the mid-80s, I think papaya started to be more like available. And my mom started making it with papaya, and my sister are like, what are you doing?
I love it.
And she's like, this is how it's
what is
made.
the salad?
and we were
Did you
floored.
did you grow up eating a lot of Thai food at home, or did you grow up eating like more American or like a mix? What was your like childhood food sitch like?
It was a mix because
Hmm.
um I mean, I actually didn't like a lot of spicy food when I was a kid.
Okay.
And, you know,
Oh, that's so funny. You love spicy food now.
yeah. To my mom's credit, she, allowed me to she, she would make food. If she made Thai food, she'd actually make a less spicy version for me,
Nice.
and then make full spice for her, my dad, and my sister.
Yeah.
Actually, since my mom was a really good cook, just in general, she I would have like a quote unquote American food, and she loved making desserts. Like, I don't know how many times she made like New York style cheesecake. It was crazy, like from scratch.
That was my mom's thing as a kid too. Like all the holiday parties and all of the birthday, we'd always have New York style cheesecake. That's so funny that your mom does that too.
How does your chicken look? Does it look like it's cooked?
It's getting there. It's starting to like get opaque, and there's some chunks that are a little bit
Yeah.
translucent still, but yeah, we got a rolling simmer going.
Okay,
That's
good.
cooking this. Yeah.
Good.
And I'm trying to like just tuck the bits that are sticking out that are still a little too pink underneath. I really like that your recipe has dark meat and white meat, because so many people, like if you order it at a restaurant, you don't really get it with dark meat. And I'm a really big fan of thighs. So anytime I can get thigh meat, it's like, yes, thigh meat.
I know, me too. And actually, my mom, when I was writing down this recipe, she was like, she would actually prefer to do 100% dark meat.
Mm-hmm.
She knows it's not as good for health, so that's why her concession is the half pound of
Half. Yeah.
white
Yeah.
white meat.
I too would do everything full fat dark meat.
I know.
If like it wasn't always a thing. Also, my husband doesn't. He likes dark meat, but he prefers like the breast or the white meat, because it doesn't have the bone like in the same way. It's usually like boneless.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Or like if it's like the rib attached, you can pull it off. He's not a guy who like eats meat on the bone, and that's really disappointing. It's so I'm just like, there's still meat there, bud. Like, but he didn't grow up eating. He didn't grow up eating meat on the bone, so he's just like, it's weird. It's not as satisfying to me.
I mean, there'll be times to this day, if I like have a wing or something and I'm with my parents, my dad give me crap for not like,
Cleaning the bone.
like cleaning the bone.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
my dad's the one, like, he's like chomping on stuff and
Yep.
always yelling at him, because like, this is why you have like broken crowns and like teeth problems.
I'm a total proponent for like chomping on the bone as well. And I also grew up with my mom talking to my dad about how you didn't clean these bones, like just give me your bones. And then I do it to my husband, and he's like, that's just rank. Like I had that in my mouth, and I'm like, I kiss you like this. So our mouth is the same mouth at this point. Okay, so my pot is full bubbles, full simmer. My chicken is looking mostly cooked through. Is there a next step, or should I just give it a stir? Lid time.
Consistency.
It's still pretty liquid. It's still pretty liquid. Can you see that? There's quite a bit of liquid still left. I can bring it closer.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah.
Let's give it another few minutes.
Okay. And I've reduced the heat a little bit to like let the liquid reduce a little bit more. Okay.
So I do want to do a story about this recipe too. So a few years ago, we were having Thai Thanksgiving. So when we have Thanksgiving, we have traditional American food, and then we have Thai food too. We usually meet up with 3 or 4 other Thai families in St. Louis, and we have a big party. And my mom wanted to make green curry with fish, and because it was a big part, making a big bag of it, and so she had me cut the beans, which I don't know about you, had me cut the green beans.
Okay.
Which I had you cut. I mean, cutting green beans is tedious, right? It's just,
cutting green beans is tedious. I bought a bag of frozen green beans, but they're already cut, so that was. I was like, let's just cut out some truck work here.
Well, and my mom, I was saying them, and so the recipe calls for that I have half inch, right? I was cutting them maybe about 3/4 because I was getting we're pounds and pounds of beans talking.
Yeah.
She yelled at me.
Of course, you did it wrong.
I was at the time, my late 30s. Here's my mom yelling at me about how I'm cutting the green beans, and I was like, you know what? I finally asked, why is it a problem? You're just gonna eat it anyway. And she said, no. So we eat with a fork and spoon, Thai people.
Same. Filipinos do as well.
So it's a spoon. You need to have like the perfect like combination of the green bean, fish, or the
chicken,
meat protein.
Right. Yeah.
And the sauce and
I get
curry
it. And the sauce and rice. Yeah.
And rice.
Yeah.
And if the green bean's too big, then it's a problem.
It doesn't fit. Ugh. Yes. I love it.
So I had to go back.
Because that's exactly what my mother would do too. She would say, like, this is the wrong size, go back and cut it again.
But like when I was a kid, I didn't question it because I was like the wrath of my mom.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I was a sous chef. And I never asked. So then when I finally asked, I'm like, well, of course that makes sense. Why didn't you just tell me that before?
Right.
So.
Right. Exactly. That's so funny. I feel like there's like I feel like in Asian families, there's like the mysticism of like, mom said it, so that's why you do it. And like, you never question it. And then as you get older, when you like learn what the reason is, it's just like, well, that's so obvious. Like, why would you have said this like when I was younger? And it's just like, well, you wouldn't have understood it. Like, wouldn't I? Wouldn't that make sense? Like, the spoon goes in my mouth too. All these little bits. I know, I get it.
Right.
But yeah. Earlier today, because with a friend, and she didn't give me instructions, but she was like, here are the ingredients that you need. And then I was like, follow-up questions. What do I do with these ingredients that like, it just says potato? Like, what do I do with the potato? And she was like, oh, you should boil it. And I was like, okay, great. But then I thought about it. I was like, and I was cooking with her and her mother. And I was just like, that is exactly what it's like cooking with like an immigrant mom in the room, where your mom is just like, it's a little of this, it's a little of that. Like, and then to have to recreate a recipe based off of what your mom or your like maternal figure like did as a kid, it's so hard to be like, is it a half inch? Is it is it a tablespoon? Is it 2 tablespoons? What's gonna like throw this over the edge, or what's gonna make it too much? And so I thought it was so funny, and then I was like, no, that is the perfect way to send me a recipe, because that is exactly what it's like cooking with your mom. She's just gonna tell you, it's just put a little. She'll know. She can eyeball.
Oh, absolutely.
She can eyeball it, and she'll know what it is. Okay, so let me show you what this liquid situation looks like, and you can tell me if it's still too much.
No, I think it's good because once you add the green beans and things will start to really
Okay.
get it
So
together.
it's green bean time.
Add in a quarter teaspoon sugar.
Okay, my sugar.
Add that. Then you add the green beans.
Okay. My perfectly sized half-inch green beans. Thank you, frozen green beans. And is green beans something that's traditional in like Thailand, or is it something like where your family's from in Thailand, or is it like a Midwest thing where your mom was like, I didn't have this, I made a substitution, we put the green beans in here?
I think actually green beans is a thing because there are
Okay.
other dishes that have green beans in it. Well, let me think. Yeah, there are other dishes that have green beans. You can turn up the heat a little bit.
Turn it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we're gonna taste it. Taste the curry.
Okay. Let me just.
Oh yeah,
That's good. You were totally right. I didn't need to add salt yet, like at all. Like
so whereas
it's already.
I'm like I need some fish sauce, so I'm gonna add.
I'm gonna add fish sauce. I don't think I need salt, but fish sauce is like a definitely different flavor, and yeah, I'm all for fish sauce, and I feel like it just brings out so much more of that flavor that you're looking for.
My mom, she says up to 2 tablespoons because it's really to your taste. So
right.
I'm adding in probably about a tablespoon right now.
I'd add a little bit more than what I put. I just added about a tablespoon.
So then let it kind of simmer a little bit and then taste it again.
Okay. I added about a half more. I'm so excited for this meal.
You made your cooked rice, right? Already cooked.
My rice is cooked. It's just warming. It's on a warm setting. I use I usually get elephant brands, like Thai jasmine rice, elephant brands, but they didn't have it in a bag that I was like, I can keep in my home. It's usually like those 25-pound bags.
Right.
And I can't keep that here. So I bought a 10-pound bag of, or a 5-pound bag, and it's Cock brand. And I've never had it before, but it looks right and it smells right. Yeah. So I'm sure it's fine. It's a new crop, so it's good. All right, we're cooking. This is the right flavor.
All right, so then go ahead and add the basil.
Okay. And should it be torn or chopped or what?
Rough chop it.
Rough chop. Okay. I'm gonna just grab a scissor. Hi, friend.
And then add the peppers too.
Okay. And you said just like cut them in half.
Half inch at an angle.
Okay.
I don't know why that's important, but
I'm going to start with one because we've already talked about this a little bit offline, that the chili is going to be hotter if it's the red one. And I've already got like a nice hot heat tickle in the back of my throat. I'm going to start with one and see how it goes. And then I might add the second, and then we'll see about the third. Your heat tolerance is much higher than mine.
So in lieu of I don't have the mokuru leaf, which is the Thai lime leaf. I'm gonna zest some of the lime, regular lime.
Okay. Okay.
in here.
All right, we're gonna add a little bit more chili. This is like I'm working with like Thai mild, which is not mild. It's not. Yeah, it's not like American mild. It's like still got a kick. So I'm grateful for that. And then I'm just gonna add this tiny bit at the end. And then should I pop the heat off? Should I keep it on?
You can turn off the heat, and that's it.
Okay. Awesome. Let me show you. So I know I did it right.
Oh, I do like the pop of the red pepper, the color.
I like the color. Will it give it the same kind
Here,
of
I'll
heat?
show you.
Yes, show me yours.
Let's see.
Oh, beautiful. Let me grab my camera. I'm going to take a quick photo while you're showing off yours.
Oh my.
Yeah. We'll do yours and mine. See if I can get mine closer. Ah, that's hot.
Yeah, don't spill anything.
Not trying to. Just trying to pull the thing closer. And there. Yeah. 1, 2, and you know what else works is a Zoom. It's not like I don't know how to use my phone or camera, but more like I just don't think about things when I'm doing it. Okay, I got the shot. Thanks for teaching me how to make this.
Sure.
Do you have last thoughts that you want to share before we end? Also, this was super fast. Like, it's so fast. I didn't think it would be this fast. I just looked at my watch and I was like, oh crap, that's fast. So fast.
That's why, like, some things are, here, let me move. Like, some Thai recipes are like super complicated and take forever.
Mm-hmm.
Some things are easy. So I think that's why, like, the green curry is pretty popular because it's actually not hard to make.
Right. Right.
One thing I wanted to show though was, like, you know, growing up with cooking with my mom, I always did have a little bit kind of resentment because it was always like, go help your mom in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was no choice in the matter. Yeah. So then it was just this kind of reluctant kind of relationship we had, like, in the kitchen. She was so militant in the kitchen too, because she's a perfectionist. Yeah. It wasn't a pleasant experience. So as I got older and was able to have more kind of conversations about, like, what we're doing, why we do these things, it's much better. I mean, light years better than when it was when I was a kid. So I wish that, you know, and this maybe comes from, again, with like immigrant parents, like they're not communicating, you know, because that's just not how, like, it's not how they were raised either.
Right, absolutely. It's like, this is just the way that it's done. You don't ask questions.
Yeah.
Do it because I asked you to, because it's like, in Tagalog, it's called utang na loob, which is like a debt on your head. That's like the literal translation is debt on your head. And it means, like, you know, it's your duty, it's your responsibility to do this because your parents did X, Y, Z for you. They, you know, they came here so that you could have a life, even though you might not have already existed in the thinking process of, like, having this life. And it's a little bit messed up. just the idea that, like, you know, it's a lot messed up. I mean, it's definitely, like, why so many, at least I feel like for like Asian American folks, like, why so many of us are like, we need therapy. It's a good idea. We gotta work
Um,
through this jet thing that our parents have given us. But it's like it's an important sacrifice, and also like we should be responsible for holding that up. We should be forever responsible for like the choices that they've made. But
yeah,
still be appreciative, of course, because like we could be living someplace else or not existing,
that's absolutely true.
right?
Um,
Right.
yeah, one thing that I didn't talk earlier though is that so they're actually not a really big Thai community in St. Louis, but like my
Mhm.
parents are kind of founder isn't really right. It's like we're like one of the first kind of families, Thai families,
Yeah.
St. Louis, so they know, they know everybody, and like everybody knows them. But they also everybody knows them because my mom's a really excellent cook, and so when
I
we
heard a
do,
rumor she's like the best Thai cook in all of St. Louis.
she has like some people had a lot of growing up, a lot of potlucks, right? So we'd have the one parties with Thai people. So like growing up, I lived in a predominantly white neighborhood community and lived that existence. And on the weekends, I was with all Thai people all weekend.
Yep.
We have these potluck parties, and my mom usually like a mom was known for like one dish, really good dish, and she would
Right.
bring. My mom had at least, I don't know, 7 or 8, in addition to
I
desserts,
love it.
which is a whole like other thing.
Yep.
And
Yep.
she has, my sister and I are sworn to secrecy, like on her recipes, for those specific dishes, because she doesn't want people to have them. But
of course not, because then how can she keep making them if somebody else is making them, right?
right.
I love it.
She does do, if she gives a recipe out, she does change it just a little bit.
Yes. 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 Just a tweak, because it's never going to be as good as hers, right? Like
yes, exactly. It's still good. It still tastes good.
Still good.
It's not the
Still
same.
good. Not the same. She might tell you it's like a quarter teaspoon, and really it's like half teaspoon or something. And she's like, "That's it. I got them." I love it. Your mom sounds like a savvy lady. I love it.
So the good thing, one last thing on the curry, as with most Thai curries, you can freeze it. Fine.
Okay, great.
It actually will be better on probably the second or third day.
Third day. Yep.
That's especially the case for if you ever make Penang curry. That is, at least with my mom's recipe, so that's the one she's known for. Like that's her like signature dish. That is the third day is the best.
Okay.
So,
I will keep that in mind.
That's the secret, is that third day is the best.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for teaching me your mom's recipe. I know I already love it. It's delicious. I'm going to totally add it to our rotation of the foods that I make for dinners. Thank you again, Anne. I really, really appreciate you taking your time to do this. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.